Thank you for joining us today. Dr. Jacqueline Collett, Professor Emerita of Music at Truman State University, peacefully passed away in her home in Kirksville, Missouri. She was 71 years old. Jackie was raised in El Paso, Texas, and pursued her passion for music with dedication and excellence. Dr. Collett realized her passion for music education her sophomore year under the tutelage of Dr. Hugh Carden at the University of Texas at El Paso, where she earned her Bachelor of Music. She often spoke of his influence on her own teaching, striving to be for her students, many of whom lovingly called her Dr. C, what he was for her, an inspiration, a source of encouragement, and a supportive shoulder or boulder, whichever was needed most. Continuing her education, she earned both her Master of Music and Doctor of Musical Arts degrees from the University of Arizona. Before joining the Truman faculty, she taught music in Arizona's public schools at both the elementary and secondary levels, laying the groundwork for a lifelong career in music education. A devoted educator and accomplished vocalist, Jackie joined the Truman State University faculty, Northeast Missouri State University at the time, in 1992, and served as a professor of music for 32 years until her retirement in May of 2024. At Truman, Dr. Collett taught applied voice, class voice, music education courses, Hollywood to Broadway, and directed numerous operettas and the no longer active Truman State University show choir, the Franklin Street Singers. She was beloved by her students and colleagues for her dedication, kindness, and joy in teaching. Though she had no children of her own, she treated generations of students as family. In retirement, Jackie continued to teach guitar at Truman State University and remained active in the community she loved. She recently joined the Rotary Club of Kirksville and enjoyed helping out with projects, especially the flags. She enjoyed spending time with her bowling buddies, traveling the world and exploring new places with students, colleagues, family, even strangers, and visiting former students and lifelong friends throughout the country. She also delighted in attending Broadway performances in Kansas City with her boys, a treasured tradition she held dear. Her deep ties to the Truman and Kirksville communities and her enduring friendships were a central joy in her life. Dr. Collett is survived by her sisters, Alice and Judith, and her brother, Robert. She was preceded in death by her parents. As she requested, she was cremated, and a celebration of life is today. Both on and off the stage, in and out of her office, and in a hallway or classroom, Dr. C met people with kindness, wisdom, and joy. Jackie's legacy lives on through the many lives she touched, each individual she inspired, every heart she reached, and the music she helped bring into the world. We thank you for joining us today as we celebrate and honor her together.
Thank you, Dr. Phillips and Dr. Zhang. That was beautiful. Hello, dear ones. My name is Tom Huber, and I'm an emeritus professor of voice here at Truman, where I had the honor and privilege of serving side by side with my dear colleague and friend, Jackie Collett, for 24 years. I'm so moved to see all of you, and I'm grateful for your presence, seeing many of you after a long interval of time. That includes many former students, former colleagues, and many friends. I'm struck by the irony and sadness of how many of us who are here today were also gathered here just over a year ago to celebrate the retirement of our dear Jackie. And like so many of you here today, I struggle to make sense of her departure, especially when her presence was never in doubt. We all would recognize, usually down the hallway, the characteristic cackle of her laugh, her calling out her favorite nickname for a student, or if you were really lucky, having her sing out your name. Those sounds still echo in my memory, and I will miss them. My journey with Jackie began in the spring of 1992, when I was serving on a search committee to find a new faculty member who would teach applied voice, graduate music education courses, and just for the heck of it, lead a show choir. How in the world do you find someone who has expertise in all these areas? Actually, in the eyes of some of the administrators, leading Franklin Street Singers was the most important aspect of this position. The directive was very simple: make Franklin Street better. Of course, she did. From where my perspective was, though, I thought teaching voice was at least as important as leading a show choir. So anyway, the search committee identified two candidates that we wanted to bring to campus and see them work in person and to interview them. The first candidate arrived, and I remember having difficulty envisioning her as a faculty colleague. This candidate spoke negatively about one of my then current colleagues, and she was openly campaigning with the administration to consider hiring her husband to come and also teach at the university. Her singing and teaching weren't all that memorable either. I just knew that we couldn't hire this person. So now all our hopes rested on the second candidate. If she was similarly underwhelming, what would we do next? Well, I'm happy to report that she wasn't underwhelming. She was beyond whelming. From her firm handshake to her professionalism, her excellent voice teaching, and beautiful singing, I knew we had found our person. She even made Franklin Street sound better after her short time working with them. We had found our new faculty colleague, and so began a significant and memorable teaching career here at Truman State. From the get-go, Jackie demonstrated her trademark personality: lively, incredibly supportive, empathetic, a friend to all. Qualities we all saw in her for as long as we knew her. It was in the spring of 1993, Jackie's first year, that our Megan came along. And Jackie was right there cheering us on as we became parents, and she became Aunt Jackie. Her baby gift was an electric ice cream maker. which I put to good use. Similarly, when Ben came along 7 years later, Aunt Jackie was a steady presence. One of our favorite things to do with Jackie was to shoot off fireworks at 4th of July. I can't say who was the bigger pyro, she or I. One year, as we were shooting them off in her driveway out in the country, I nearly took out all the spectators with one stray firework. Remember, fireworks are dangerous. I want to say just a few words about Jackie as a colleague. We found that we had similar thoughts and approaches when it came to teaching singing, and even when we may have disagreed, which wasn't often, we always found a middle ground and respect for each other. I frequently would pick her brain for ideas about repertoire, technique, student psychology, and many other singing-related topics. As an example of our thoughts being in sync, I share an anecdote from one of the many recruiting trips we would take. In this case, it was to St. Louis. And going along with us was our faculty colleague, Dr. Warren Gooch. So we traveled down to St. Louis, visited some schools, and we held some auditions. And so usually on these trips, which we were expected to do, one of the main perks was to be able to go out to eat on the university's tab. Well, we were on our way home back to Kirksville, and we were driving through Hannibal, and I knew that there was a Dairy Queen just up ahead. And I knew that Jackie knew that there was a Dairy Queen just up ahead. So I looked over at her, and I said, "Should we?" And she goes, "Of course." And then from the back seat, Dr. Gooch says, "You guys are scary." I found myself teaching a lesson just about a week ago here at Truman, where I'm now back as an adjunct professor. And I was working with a student, and I used the vocalese. And I realized after I presented this vocalese to the student, I'd gotten this vocalese from Jackie. So her influence still carries on. Her students flourished under her teaching, and many have gone on to be successful performers and teachers, and many of you are here today. I know that she was a big reason for the success of the voice area of Truman State University. In the days following her death, I read many of the tributes that were posted online, and I was struck by how similar the comments were. So many of you spoke of the special encouragement that you found from her, whether you were studying voice one-on-one or were a student in a class of 40 students. She saw them all. She saw us all. And that's why she called us her dear ones. That's a part of her legacy we've all experienced and we all share. Her love and acceptance. We will miss our many Mexican meals over the decades with Jackie. We will miss our phone calls and visits, laughter and tears over the good, the bad, the painful and joyous times that we shared together. I miss my friend.
Is he gonna stand?
Hope this microphone is
Oh,
on.
shoot, we can't see. Yes. We can't see him.
Friends, family, students, former students, colleagues, and Judy, thank you all for gathering here today to celebrate Jackie and Collett. I have just a few brief remarks, mainly to introduce the piece of the choir to sing. Jackie would love this piece. I knew that from the moment I thought of it. And I wanted to just share some of my understanding of Jackie and her love and response to music. In choral music specifically, Jackie saw the beauty and the power of collective expression, as she did elsewhere in her life. Jackie traveled with us. I didn't introduce myself. Mark Jennings is perfectly Collett. I know most. She traveled with us on the international tours I led 2005, 8, 11, 14, and 17, and one before I came to Trinity. She loved traveling with the choir. She loved traveling with many of you out here. And she loved traveling with us because she loved the students. And she loved going new places. And she loved meeting new people. And she was a fantastic travel companion. One just note, it's not a specific thing, but she watched over the students and the drama that can kind of sometimes occur. And she insulated me from said drama. Unless I really needed to know. So she kept tabs on us. She kept tabs on me, for that matter. As a young faculty member, she was there, and she showed me the support that I needed. And I suspect that's the support that she showed all of you. It's what you needed at the time, and she gave you the support and the feeling of humanity to each of us. So, interestingly, on these international tours, she told me, she's like, I want to sing. And I'm like, great. And she loved singing with our music with us, especially, by the way, Renaissance repertoire. It was just a love of her. She's like, I just love that music. And this connected her with students and being able to sing with students, and also with her former days as a student when she was such an active choir singer. She found in music a beauty of expression. She found in people a beauty of expression, and in that collective expression that choirs can give. Back home, Jackie and I would chat after almost every choir concert. We would have a little sit down in her office, and she'd have her program, and she would walk through the program with me, and she'd just tell me what she liked and why she liked it. I already miss those talks. When a piece of music on a program touched her, it would resonate with her sense of beauty, humanity, and her values. Jackie, when she heard a piece that touched her, she would tell me, well, I bawled, of course. And I see our celebration here today, our collective expression of grief and love, as a powerful affirmation of Jackie's understanding of life. In Let My Love Be Heard, Jacqueline instead sets the following Alfred Noyes poem called A Prayer. Angels, where you soar up to God's own light, take my own lost bird on your heart tonight. And as grief once more mounts to heaven and sings, let my love be heard, whispering in your wings. Runested's music engages the spirit of love, beauty, and emotional connection that were so important in Jackie Collett's life.
How am I supposed to talk after that? That was absolutely beautiful, Mark. My name is Judy. I'm Jackie's sister. On behalf of my brother Robert, my sister Alice, and my niece Laura, who's sitting right back there. Thank you so much for attending Jackie's memorial program. Jackie would be astonished at the outpouring of love and support that has manifested over these last 2 months. 2 months tomorrow. I specifically want to thank Tim and Paul, Nancy and Tom, Phyllis, Mark and Susan Knox, Mark Jennings and Susan Knox, Peggy and Robin Moore for their kind words and deeds in support of my extreme grief over the loss of Jackie. I would also like to thank Mark and Donna Anderson for their love and support upon my calling Tim after finding Jackie. Tim immediately jumped on the wagon, came to Kirksville, straightened and spot cleaned Jackie's home. Between Jackie's passing and my finding her, her animals had done some damage to her home due to their stress. Both he and Paul arranged to have Jackie's animals placed into good and loving homes, one of which is Brittany here, took Shadi, and Haley, Mark and Donna's daughter, took her 2 kitties. Paul drove over 500 miles to place her kitties with Jackie's close friend, Mark and Donna. They made contact with everyone connected to Jackie to inform them of her passing. And finally, they planned and executed this wonderful tribute to Jackie. There are not enough words to express my gratitude to all they have done. Thank you so much. It's going to get better. Hold on. Jackie was 2 years older than me, so growing up, she was the one to take control of our enterprising activities, both good and bad. One activity involved a very young Jackie, maybe 5 or so, running into the house, yelling, "Mommy, Mommy, can you spank me later? The fence is on fire." She loved to play with matches, and she always smoked their cigarette butts. She would kill me right now. That's okay, I always got her. Another time, she and I were in the garage playing catch with a softball. I was the sportster. She always wanted to be, but she wasn't. We were about 15 feet apart, and I was tossing a softball to her. She kept telling me to throw it harder. So a little harder I threw. She said, "No, throw it harder." I said, "Jackie, not a good idea." She insisted, you know her. So I threw it hard, hit her right between the eyes. She never asked me to throw it again. One last example of my beautiful sister. I wasn't there, but my niece was. Laura. At the time, she was the girlfriend of Eddie. Both were in high school. He had an old Ford pickup with shiny leather seats. Eddie and Jackie were taking Laura down to Album Park to play baseball. After dropping Laura off, Eddie decided to gun the engine and make a fast turnaround in the parking area. As he wheeled his pickup around, the passenger door flew open, and out went Jackie, right on her bum. Of course, Eddie stopped right away to make sure she was fine, but she was, except she was very sore. Jackie and I grew up in a not-so-amiable household. There was a lot of tension and hostility growing up. As a result, she decided early on she would always embrace anyone and everyone she met with a friendly smile and a hug, if needed. She truly found her calling when she decided to pursue music as her vocation. Upon graduation from UTEP, she taught elementary school, where she learned to be patient and kind to her kids. From there, she taught high school music, where she met and focused on her kids and learned they needed more than just a teacher. She became a mentor, advisor, confidant, and supporter for all aspects of her damn kids. After several years, she wanted more and moved on to U of A to obtain her master's and doctorate degrees. While there, she put herself through programs by working part-time jobs. After graduation came the sending of resumes to schools all over the country. One of the schools interested in her was Northeast Missouri State. After her audition, she said she would love to teach here. My dad and my brother, Robert, came to Kirksville to find her and her husband at the time, Rick, a place to live. Well, the rest you guys know. Our high school alumni, we went to Eastwood in El Paso, Texas, started a Facebook page called Eastwood Gone But Not Forgotten. One of Jackie's high school friends, Kathy Robbins, had been maintaining the site for years, but because of health problems, her husband Bill took over the day-to-day updates. After I posted the news of Jackie's passing, he told Kathy he had never seen such an outpouring of love for anyone like there has been for Jackie. So even in high school, she made a lifelong impact on many lives. Over her 32-year career, Jackie taught and influenced thousands of people. From the turnout today, it's obvious how much her life meant to all of you. Again, I know she had no idea how much she meant to you. My sister Jackie was my best friend. Going forward, life is going to be very difficult, as there is a hole a mile wide in my heart. Finally, please tell your loved ones how much you care for them. Maybe not every day, because it would be routine and lose the specialness of the sentiment, but often enough that your loved ones hear you and take to heart how you feel. As you know, tomorrow will come and they may not be here. Love to you all. Thank you.
We've practiced this. Couple times. Okay. When it comes to Jackie,
Dr. Collett, Dr. C.
you certainly cannot sum her up in just a few words. Her life and her impact were much like her personality.
Big, bold, and bright.
She passionately lived a life of love for others
Both human and four-legged.
and pushed for the betterment of a greater good, practicing this concept daily.
Sometimes hourly, as many of us can attest to her numerous Facebook posts. But through her life's example, she was able to help guide and mold so many young lives for over 40 years of dedicated service to education. And this impact is what brings many of us here today.
Both of us first met Jackie during our freshman years here at Truman State. For me, it was the late 1900s. Walking into a vocal music major meeting, nervous and unsure, but instantly drawn to this fiery, red-headed woman who, though small in stature, completely commanded the room.
For me, it happened in the early aughts when a chance encounter in the halls of Ophelia Parish led her to all but demand an audition for Franklin Street. From that moment on, our lives were drawn into hers and eventually into each other's.
From our first meetings, she was consistent. A constant. She was a constant and consistent, but she was a constant. She gave us a safe place to be ourselves on our own time. In her office on the second floor of Baldwin Hall,
Or here in Ophelia Parish.
or during Franklin Street rehearsals, we cried, laughed, argued, learned, grew, just as many of you did.
She saw potential where her students couldn't, pushed us to all find our voices, and held space for each of us to become who we were meant to be.
She was a teacher, yes, but also a mentor, an advisor, a guide, and a guardian to us all, while we experienced college and life's multiple opportunities. Through each up and down, she was there if and when we needed her.
The connection she built with each of us never ended for her. She was thrilled to see families grow, celebrated when careers blossomed, and cherished watching the lives of former students unfold, always cheering us on from the sidelines.
Her concern for our well-being was consistent. She often reached out via Facebook Messenger or text to those who may have been struggling, or she just felt maybe needed a check-in.
She celebrated right along with them when things went their way, too. We recall many conversations where Jackie provided us life updates on you. She was so proud of her damn kids.
There are many memories that capture her spark, like Franklin Street Singer rehearsals, where she pushed us harder than we thought possible, even if she may have had to throw keys over the balcony to make her point. Only once, though, or a few more times. But, I mean, it worked.
Like her inviting over 30 students to her own house for the annual Franklin Street Singers Secret Santa reveal party.
Like her thrill when hearing we would be taking her to a new restaurant of which she hadn't heard.
Or like her passionate desire to tell stories, make connections, and teach others about music, even if it ultimately got a group kicked out of the music hall.
She really did kind of start that fight, though.
But they were talking all throughout the first act, so...
Like her explosive laughter, sometimes accompanied by a gin spray.
Or like the moment she very matter-of-factly announced to Christine, you think? about the two of us, nudging us toward the relationship that became our marriage and our life together.
Even after we had moved on from Truman State, we both still felt a pull to Jackie here in Kirksville. That connection led us to sharing the last 15 years of Thanksgiving dinners in both Kansas City and here.
Christmases, birthdays, other holiday celebrations with both our families.
So many shows and so many venues.
Putting IKEA furniture together in her bedroom.
Home remodels both here and in KC.
And so many trips back and forth to the airport, which she was always excited to be traveling.
Exploring so many countries, ballparks, national parks, the Southwest, visiting friends, seeing former students, now friends, and so much more.
But every trip always ended with her joyous return, smiling and telling us all of her wonderful experiences.
She was our most frequent house guest.
Our martini connoisseur.
Yes, our Broadway show partner and fellow critic, and our second mom, providing us another anchor point in our lives.
This, in return, made us proudly her boys.
Many of our recent memories with her center around stories about many of you, and we can think of no better way to honor the impact of her life through friendship, family,
and Facebook. Through the classroom, through the computer, both in person and online, Jackie made connections with everyone she met.
We would like to celebrate those connections by inviting any of you here in attendance today the opportunity to share your remembrance of Jackie by stepping up to the provided microphones that Dawn is going to model for us now. We can toss them also. And since we know that we are on a time constraint and we know that many of us may want to share, we're going to go ahead and start with Paula because she's going to talk a lot. Yeah, it's already on. All you have to do, hold it still for a minute. There it is.
All right. I knew there was a reason he asked me to talk first last night, but there's something behind that. And I explained it very much. I'm going to read my quote because then I won't ramble. My name is Collett. I'll stop following. I was at Truman Art Movies from the fall of 1994 until the spring of 2000, and I was in industry all 6 years. Don't worry, I have 3 degrees. So here it goes. This is the post I put on Facebook a couple days after her passing. So, and I don't like being emotional in front of people, bear with me. One of my college professors died recently and unexpectedly. I know to many of this might sound crazy. You might be thinking, weren't you in college like 30 years ago? The answer is yes. But when your experience was like mine, and when you had college professors like mine, who were a huge part of why you became the person you are now, well, that makes things different. First of all, those who know me might find it very hard to believe that I didn't even know what show choir was when I was in high school, until I saw my brother performing with the Franklin Street Singers. I think I was a junior in high school. And I went home and thought, what is this? I have to be one of the singing. And I just lost my Facebook. And I did just that. My freshman year, I nervously tried out, petrified that I wasn't going to make the group. This is shortly after she took over and auditions were hard. So I had to be part of that group, and I did this every freshman year, and what made it even more special was that my brother was in that group. And for 1 year, we were in that group together and became the closest I think we've ever been that year. I will always cherish the year I had with him as one of the most special times in my life. And Dr. Collett was the director of the group. I was not a music major my freshman year, I was a theater major. But I was in my street and made some of the best friends I've ever had and have sophomore year, I was one of the choreographers for Franklin Street, which prior to that I had never ever done anything like that. But somehow, Dr. C seemed to see something in my young 19-year-old self and decided I was up to the challenge. I had changed for major music by that point, and by my junior year, I was the student director of Franklin Street, and for the next 3 years, assistant director and choreographer of the choreographers. And for those of you who have done that in the 2000s, try playing this forward with no internet. I spent 6 total years in that group, as I said, however I got for the undergrad, with Dr. C as my director and mentor. I would not be the kind of show choir director and teacher I am if she had not been mine. She pushed me, she believed in me, she yelled at me, she laughed with me, and she cried with me. She taught me several things about being a music teacher, but I think one of the most important things I learned was how important it was to instill a sense of family within your ensemble, so I strive to do every day since. She also taught me that a very well-planned fit is very effective. Too bad I'm going to keep throwing my balcony. I'm not balcony, I'm kidding. I didn't stay as close with Dr. C like some of her other former students. I didn't talk to her daily, but through the years, we would meet up at reunions and other events, and she would always message me when she knew I was going through a hard time. When I was going through the worst time of my life, which was my divorce from my kid's father, she reached out to me daily to tell me it was going to be okay and I could do this. I was so afraid for my kids, and I was so afraid of what they would think of me. And she assured me that my kids knew who I was. And that she knew I was a good mother, and she didn't need to do that. We hadn't spoken in years. She just knew I was hurting, and I needed support. And she reached out and gave it to me when I needed it most. And I will never forget that. Franklin Street gave me some of the best memories of my life, and some of my best friends, and I will be forever grateful for that. We may not have stayed close, but I am forever grateful for the experiences and the people you brought into my life, and the love and laughter we shared with you throughout the years. I will miss hearing you call me Holly. Rest easy, Jackie. We will make sure the laughter and the music lives on.
So we literally have the blue balls. So if you would like
My name is Rose Robinson. I was adjunct professor here from 99 to 18. And the first day I was here, we were in Baltimore. There weren't enough studios to go around. Oh my God. And so I taught everywhere except the bathroom. Daddy was nice enough to say, here, go get the key to my office whenever I'm not there. You're more welcome to me there. And so that started it off. And I was there every Wednesday and Thursday, spent the night with Jackie for quite a few years. And on Thursday, for the whole time I was there, we always went to lunch on Thursday. We planned our days so that no lessons interfered with that. Well, when we were here, all you wanted, the basic offer was either fast food, which you couldn't really sit and talk, or else Mexican and Chinese, so we offered. One time we were going into the Chinese, that was the buffet or something over here, and the kid went to the car, and of course Jackie was immediately on her knees going to do so we had to go eat, and then when she came back out, she brought a piece of potato for this little kid. And this little kid came out to her, and of course she grabbed it, and it became one of hers. I don't know that Jackie named all of her critters with an S sound or spell with it. So this one, since we gave it was Spud. Spud was cute. I don't know how long we lived this. She had a plethora. Two things about her first student lessons that I did, Shawnee and Cheyenne. It was cold in dogs, right? I didn't have a 3-dog night, I had 2. But at about 2:30 in the morning, I woke me up because it was just dawning, they were so hot. And I said, okay, you can in, and I opened the door, and they splayed themselves on the tile in our kitchen. Come on. I'm so happy. But there are a lot of things. One of the things for the 4 of us, Tom and Jackie and I, we did a Schumann recital. And it was really fun because it was quartets and trios and duets and solos. And it was a good time because it was challenging for all of us because usually, you know, okay, a lot of us together did in Quincy, which is where I'm from. I'm in Symphony Floors over there. But the one time that Tom came over, it was Jackie and I and a baritone from Quincy. And we did all Messiah, and we did all the solo work for Messiah. And then we did some Beethoven here with the orchestra here. Of course, we did a lot of fun things together. And it was always a great time. And I suppose one of the highlights after Jackie retired that summer, I called her over there, as we had talked about, there was a trip that we all both wanted to take, and it was to go see the national parks. And that we hadn't seen. That was a trip Robert and I wanted to take. Well, Robert had died by this time, and so I called Jackie up one day when they was in Quincy, and they were lining up a bus trip, and I said, hi, I got this trip in mind, you want to go? And she didn't even get ready, she said, yes. And so off we went, and we took off from St. Louis, so Norman Tabernacle performed, and did all the monuments and arches and little horseman, and we wound up in the Grand Canyon, and I have a degree from ASU. And so we both had been there, and so it was really fun to reminisce about when we've been there before. So that was a good time, and I don't know, there's a lot of other fun things that we did that can't mention all. But she was a dear friend, and I don't miss her terribly.
Sunflower in her hayfield, and that's exactly how I felt when I first came into the halls of Missouri State. I didn't know anyone here. In fact, the first friend I made was in Collett. He was just in a for 1 year, retirement day. But I remember going to the Kennedy house, and I saw him, and I said, that guy's going to be my friend. 30 years later, we are still friends, and I'm so proud of all of you, and many of you like this person as well. It's so good to see you. But there was something about Dr. Collett. I could see, she just saw right through the heart of me. She saw this scared, intimidated, hazy from God knows where, middle of nowhere, Kansas. But she saw the talent too. And she always found ways to bring out that talent and reminding me that it's there, even when I was swimming in music theory. Like, y'all had been here 6 years. I had made myself like, yo, like, nothing even was going on. And I remember her telling me at one point that she called me out on not being authentic to myself. And she was right. It really stuck with me. Years later, I found myself in St. Louis walking around the stage and saying, "It's okay. I'm from the class. I auditioned and made it. Wow." And I thought, gosh, you ever been able to come to be? And it just went to that role. I got myself in different ways. And I felt, we moved up to Kansas when I was in high school, so I just felt rootless. Like I grew up in the Ozarks, out in Kansas, out here, there, everywhere, and my roots never, it was like the tumbleweed that I would bring back with me. There has to be something in the college ceiling, so I'm not sure. I don't believe it's there, I just thought that. But, no, she, for years, has just been this root for me, this non-changing thing that I could depend on. No matter what was going on in my life, whether it was a tornado or a divorce or a kidnapping, or just really wild things, she was always there, checking in on me. And I miss that. I love the roots of it. I'm so glad that we have all of our many Facebook posts, and that's what I'm listening to pictures and stuff. And thanks for being here. And so we've got some more fun words on Zoom. Okay, Robin, you can hear.
Nope. So next thing I know, I've got Jacqueline adding countries. Watching grow up. And watching grow up, she did. She was always watching my posts. I have 4 guys. I have 4. Well, 3 are mine and Jackson, but I've had 4 weeks in the whole time. And every single time I was really having counted Jacqueline Collett. And she was always going about how beautiful she was. And she adored it, and she adored me, and I loved that one. We had to let her go. We had some popular tutors that came up here said, Jacqueline didn't have stage. You need to go there. You really go. And I don't know if y'all heard it, but there's a stage called the Heart. Love all your dogs, but there's that one special one that is regulated, and that was really Jack knew that, and she dropped everything that day to come to and I remember the day that I got out of church, got out on the forward. I can't tell you the test I took even with the university. But I told Jackie, and the way that was fixed was that we would be finished for great time. She affectionately called her daughter Bug, because Ray's best friend was called Junior by the way, and he was she knew that from her dad, and it was Jake, and it was Jake. And Jackie just loved that. She just loved that. And the second my best friend called her Junior, I was from that day on. It was Bug from that day on. And she would always message me, how Bug doing? How's Bug doing? She had a kid. And a couple months ago, she was going through some phone, and she messaged me and said, hold on, do you think Bug likes that?
Anybody want me to speak? Just after I.
Okay. Hi, everybody. Judy Bronson. I was in Jackie's first crop of voice students here back in 1992. And I'm going to keep this brief, but at the time I was a music major, a voice major, and I had designed to be a high school music teacher. It's to everyone's benefit in the entire universe that is not where I ended up. I'm a psychologist now, and I think in an odd way, I am what I am, due in part to Jackie. But what I just wanted to share is the fact that for me, she took a very awkward, confused, a bit directionless, very disorganized kid with terrible performance anxiety, and helped shepherd me through all the way through my music program, through my senior recital. And I'll never forget, it's a funny thing that somebody else mentioned, April Fool's Day.
That's my birthday, and I set my senior recital for my birthday because I was scared to death to actually get through that, and I thought, boy, I'm gonna get through that hurdle, and I'm gonna celebrate like nobody's business, and she took me out to Two Talls and bought me drinks. And, you know, to this day, I still have performance anxiety, which is why I don't sing in public anymore, and I can't actually believe I'm speaking in public. Anyway, it's silly to me, but that woman, I mean, you hear it even in the stories that people are telling. She saw us for who we were, she gave us time and space to develop, and she was such a champion for so many of us, and I'm gonna echo something that I believe her sister Judy said, which is, her passing was shocking for so many of us. Please, please, take the lesson from that. Don't miss the opportunity with the next person. Go see them, go visit, call that person, even if what are they gonna think of me? I haven't talked to them in forever. Do it, don't miss those opportunities. You don't know how much or how little time you have left with the people that are important to you. So, thanks for listening.
Same-ish era. And I just want to piggyback on this because when this first happened, people were posting on Facebook. And what I noticed, and Judy mentioned it as well, was that there was a thread, there was a commonality of all of the posts and the comments. And you know what wasn't mentioned? Was she was a great musician. I mean, it was mentioned, but that wasn't the point. You know, it wasn't about her being a great teacher or great musician. It was about her being that person who changed us. And I've always believed that any person you interact with in your life, you carry that with you, and other people see that person. And I just feel so honored that the people that I get to interact with get to see a piece of Jackie.
Anybody else? Oh, we got people here. How did that start? You should go on. Okay.
Hi, I'm Kowski, and I was a professor of theater here for 31 years, and I designed and built the sets for production in the department. And it was interesting because one Saturday, the community was getting together to have a protest out at the park. The American Nation folks were coming into town and we go out there with the banners. And so my wife and I went out there and we ran into Jackie. And you know, I met Jackie when her first few years because we did a workshop for her. She was brand new on the music faculty, and she was going to be our new musical director, and we were so excited. And so we had little interactions now and then, but that Saturday, we sat and talked more deeply than I ever had with her in the past. And probably more than anything, we never had the opportunity. So we sat down and talked, and of course I invited them, you know, we got to get together and have a party. We're partying together. And we're going to have paint night, so we're going to do some painting and drink some wine. And she was, yes. And so, but it was 3 days later, when I heard it. It was like, wow. One of the conversations we had was the fact that Little Shop was the only play that she actually worked with us. And I remember saying, how sad it was that we didn't get the opportunity to work with her again. And she goes, yes, I was so willing, we wanted to. I said, well, I'm sorry that didn't work out. And she goes, did I do something wrong? I said, no. We wanted to work with you again and again, but we were told that your schedule was too complicated. And she goes, who told you that? And I I wish I would have been able to. So I'm grateful because all this time she thought, get Mother back. And that's so much. And the one big thing that I have with Jack, a big memory, is just was so quirky, which I'm all involved. I was working in the same shop right down here, and she would come in. And it was the first time she did it. She came in and just stand, and I was the only one in there. I was cutting some lumber, so I stopped, and she just, I said, Jackie, is there anything you need? And she goes, no, I just love smelling this. Anytime you want to come smell myself.
We're friends with Jackie from graduate school at the University of Arizona, the real university. So I want to let you know that the Jackie that you've all talked about and that you knew for so many years is the Jackie we knew at that time. In a place filled with amazing musicians and large personalities, Jackie was one of the most memorable people, kindest, amazing person, and had the most wicked sense of humor. So I'm glad that you got to spend a lot of time with her and enjoy it.
My name is John. Anybody that knows me is not surprised I'm talking right now. But I wanted to share one Frank Street story from kind of our era, because I just think it's such a great example of what Jackie made for all of us. When we went on tour, we would have two bands, and because that's how we everyone, and we'd be driving around together, and there was a time, I think it was probably my first year with the group, where we were in the front band, and there was another band behind us, and Jackie was driving, or in the, actually Paul might have been driving, she was in the passenger seat. And somebody had the idea, ooh, we should move the other car. And I did. Because I was 18, and why not? And it is, in hindsight, and it was fine. But we had a good laugh, and Jack had a good laugh, and we got out of the car, she's like, oh, I don't mean this, wish I'd never seen that. But that was it, there was no repercussion. That's the thing that happened, and we got to laugh about it, and the most that it even came back was that Christmas gift exchange. I got an ornament of my face, thankfully, in the act of mooning the other band. And it's just, we smiling, and that is all that came from that, because it was just a space for us to do crazy things and be happy together and have fun.
Hi everybody, my name's Alex Pullman. My fiance and I lived in Kirksville when I was here for 5 years. In those 5 years, we had just about everything in our lives that could possibly happen. We broke up and got back together, we bought a house, we got engaged, we lost our grandparents, I lost my dad, and through all of that, always sitting there with advice, with a hug, with stories to tell, or a smile just to make you laugh. And just keeping the song in your heart was Dr. Collett or Dr. Steve. I'll just always remember sitting in Pancake City with her sitting across the table with her iced tea and pipeline.
was the common thread that was just mentioned earlier. It's just everyone really felt that we felt seen. By the way, Dr. Pratt and his wife Jenny really wanted to be here today when we passed them on, that they absolutely saw that in her as well, just how student-driven she always was. And right now they're on tour with her gifts, which is why they can't be here today. But we were just so incredibly fortunate to have the professors that we had here at Truman. And Jackie was just one of those lights, and I'll never forget her laughter, I'll never forget her shrieks. And that we were on an airplane and she was getting upset about a crazy baby and she was super tired on the way to Europe. It was just because she was happy and was just joyful all the time. And so I will miss her every day, and it doesn't seem real. She told me her babies do her first best, and so I was in first grade. No, she loved all of you so deeply, and it was just a joy to get to know all of you also through her.
Is she on the line to speak, or are we reading? No, she can, if she's here to speak.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Well, first of all, I wanted to say thank you to Sam and Paul and Judy for making this a virtual option. I'm in California, and I'm so thankful to be able to attend this very, I would pay this with this. So thank you so much for the ability to attend this virtually. That was very important for me today. What a beautiful celebration for Jackie's life. I met Jackie in 1992. I was a sophomore in the music department at Northeast Missouri State University. That's what I will always say. Now, my favorite call something else and I have nothing different to say about Jackie, what a wonderful woman that she was, and everyone else has had to say. I had been blessed to have her as a lifelong friend, and I cherish that. I won't miss her terribly. I had one unusual story to tell, and I will keep it brief because I know that's what we were supposed to do. When we traveled and toured with Franklin Street Singers at the very beginning of her tenure there, we would tour the area, and with all of the group and the band, we would stay with families, and mine was one that was lucky enough to host. My parents hosted us back in, we lived in central Illinois, Pekin, Illinois. And my parents opened their home and had us all stay for a few, I think it was 2 nights, maybe it was just one, but Mom fed us all and somehow had enough floor space for everyone to stick around. Through the 30 some odd years that we have become and stayed friends, they are still asked about, and Jackie never had conversations and asked how mom and dad, how's your sister, how's your brother, she just never forgot to keep them in her thoughts. I was just through the years just lucky enough to have her cherished friendship, and I spoke with her the week before she went to heaven, and I just still try
Very nice. Yes, we do.
So, if you don't mind, I'm just not gonna make eye contact with anyone, and I'll probably get through this okay. I don't remember any keys early particularly, but I do remember one time that concept real over. Something happened and she got up and she stormed out, and I was floored because I had never seen her do that before. And I went to her office later to apologize in case it was my fault. And we were talking about it, and she mentioned that you get one good diva moment in a rehearsal, and you don't do it all the time, it's punch otherwise. So now I give myself one good diva moment a year in my classroom, just to make sure that it lands.
Anyone else? You want to make sure anybody else has the opportunity? All have.
My name is Laura, and I'm in Johnson. And your little sister Jackie was kind of Jacqueline and Judy. And here you, I'm sorry, I'm nervous about I've never done anything like this before. However, I've been inspired by everything you said. And how Jackie happened and encouraged and so on, everyone. And she definitely did that for me as a young girl. Jackie was my hero. And Jackie was my champion. Because she saw in me, like she saw in you, that I was different. That it deserved to be accepted for what it was. And it's wonderful to see that she started at a pretty early age to be this leaders and people's champion. And I know, like it's been mentioned, that people who come forward with us would be at such tributes on Facebook and so on. It's very overwhelming for a family to see that. We kind of knew that, but we didn't know that. And she's more than a special woman, and she had never, as many group had never met a soul. And she will be greatly missed as an understatement. Our lives obviously will never ever be the same. But we will remember, and they will be okay. Love you.
Hi all. My name is Samantha Brown. I am the current curriculum student here. This is my 6th year in the music department. And I think that is honestly one of the hardest things about, losing Dr. Z, is still being present in these halls. Because when she retired, I thought to myself, oh, it's fine, I'll still see her every day. She's not actually gone. And she never really was, I walked by my next class, and there she was, And now I'm finishing my last semester, and I'm wondering, when is the next time I'm going to see her? I haven't passed by her, But I think I'm also very, very happy because as Judy Johnson mentioned, her being one of the first students, I
I got to take in one of her babies and help her. And I'm gracious that I could do that because I could never repay her for all the things that she did for me.
I'll project. I'm Dr. Hoover's daughter. Hi, everyone. My name is Mindy Gordon, formerly Mindy Huber. I've been just all over the place in my brain this whole time trying to think what would even be the right thing to say. So two things, random, so part of that come to mind. One, I did not like guacamole as a kid. If you ever look at guacamole, you can understand why, right? So you like it as a child, no thanks. But we went over to Jacqueline's house one time for dinner, and she makes me guacamole. And I was very hesitant, but she said, "Super, you need to try it." And I was like, "We'll get to that in a second." And I did, oh my gosh, it changed my life forever. I love guac, so thank you, Jack. I can't see chili peppers anywhere without thinking of her. We were actually all on family vacation about her passing, which felt right that we got to be together. And we went out for Mexican, I don't even think intentionally, maybe the day after even, and there was a garland of chili peppers hanging up by our table. And it was, I don't know about you all, but I just had moment after moment these past couple months that reminded me of her. One just to be totally off guard at home. We got at our house in Kansas City our first set of franchise this summer. Just never had them. My parents were being there, so we did them. And I was just sitting in my quiet home one day, and I could hear them, and I was instantly transported to her house. And I never knew I associated that sound with her until that moment. But we would go out to her house a lot, take care of her pets, or whatever, and it was so peaceful. I don't know if you ever had a chance to be there, but it was so peaceful, and she made it that way. And I'm so grateful I have this franchise now, because I'm afraid of them. Yeah, Jackie. Ollie, so my husband and I moved back to Kirksville. After we've been married a few years, we went to Kansas City, and we came back to Kirksville. Now we're in Kansas City. But while we were here, that's when we had our first daughter, Ellie. And just as an example of how dear she was to us, the people that came and visited us in the hospital were as follows: immediate family, pastor, Jackie. And I felt right that there was no question. She was our family. And just the opportunity to see her relationship with my parents over these years and to have a friendship that year, I haven't seen anything like that. To have a quality be like family. And I'll just always cherish that. Like I said, I didn't have to do sugar thing. To be honest, I don't know how that's going to look soon. I'm sure something happened.
With Collett and Tim. And Paul's brother was the student director of Franklin Street in 1700. And I brought up with this group called Franklin Street Singers. And I wasn't particularly a good singer. I had two left feet, that's what Jacqueline used to say. I don't know why they should have been here, I think they need guys, to be honest. John Summer was part of the Bibles, and we were Frank Street in the Bibles. So I don't have a particular memory, except that I was touched by a woman who has touched so many of us here. It's been kind of like a web. One person knows another person, and this person knows somebody else. Until, I got notified about her passing. And before you know it, I think it was Tim that told me. And by the next day, I had 3 or 4 people calling. And I think we're all so lucky to have such an impact on people's lives that Dr. C had on us. So if it wasn't for her, I probably never would have graduated. I was here for 5 years, and I did not have 4 degrees. So anyway, I am so happy to see so many of you. Just know that it was one woman that really brought us all together, and she was just an amazing woman. So I think of her and I pray for her, and yeah, I really don't have much else to say.
I'd like to type the whole thing out and really interested. I'm Kimberly, one of the straight below, many of you know me as Kimber. The only place I was ever called Kimber, and that was a nickname that Dr. C gave me, as she gave many of us nicknames. So I was fortunate enough to be in her voice studio for 5 years, again, Franklin Street. Also the assistant director for a while, but she and I just had a really close relationship. And as many of you have mentioned, just the relationship not only with me, but with my family. She actually knew that my mom was sick before I did, and so she was there. My mom was sick at home in Chicago, and she was here as my mom here on campus to, check things out with. And I got to return that a little bit when her mom passed. I was here, and she came back to campus after she had gone for that, and just she knew that we were all there for her during that time, which was great. When my mom passed away, she actually reached out to me and was sad she couldn't make it up to Chicago for the wake. But to this day, every year she has a Manhattan on October 12th, and she always posts on my Facebook timeline that she was having a Manhattan in honor of my mother, because that's what they would drink together, and then she likes martinis now, but she had a thing for Manhattans with her mom, which is great, and so just that they had those little nuances that she picked up, not just with each of us, but with people in our families. We did take 2 tours to Chicago. Why my parents hosted us twice, I'm not sure. And to this day, she still talked about when we went into downtown Chicago and my mom sweet talked somebody into letting 5 college-sized vans and a U-Haul parked in a construction lot in downtown Chicago. So maybe you've heard that story, but her van, she somehow got to see had a U-Haul attached to it. Why the shortest person drove the van in U-Haul, I'm not sure. But I can still picture her Cartman doll sitting on the windshield. She named her van the Cartman Express. And so she would drive that when we were on tour. But I had the pleasure of having her come and sing at my wedding, which was awesome. And I think 2 last memories would be going to her retirement party. I almost didn't make the trip, and I thought, you know what? She gets one retirement party, I'm making this happen. To see her face that day when I came downstairs at Tim and Paul's was like none other. She and I had, and I know there's a picture on the board that I didn't know existed, but she and I had a one-on-one conversation that I will carry with me for the rest of my life. And so I'm so glad now that I made that trip, that I got to sit and have those moments with her. And my last moment actually came last night. Came into town, I ran over to Mikasa to see if I could just see anybody, and I got introduced to Judy. And I never met Judy in person because we did live in Brooksville when I was here. And she said, "You're Kimber? I have heard so much about you over the years." And that just touched my heart that I knew that she knew about me because Dr. C talked about me, just like she talked about all of you. And for us to have that connection last night just really touched me. So I'm just glad we're all here on this weekend. I knew it was going to be highs and lows. It's sad that we're gathering because of this, but it's happy that we're gathering to all be together. So love you, Dr. C.
Anyone else need to have a speak at the moment?
Sorry, last minute instructions.
We appreciate everyone who was willing to share and reminisce about Jackie. Thank you.
These connections remind me how it's still easy to imagine a dimension where she is still here in Kirksville, while life continues on in other places for each of us. I personally can truly get lost in this thought, but wanting to reach out to her is when the absence of her presence is truly missed most. It's hard to imagine a life without her.
It's hard to believe we won't see her smile again, or read another Facebook post, feel her hugs, or hear her laughter, her whistle of a tune.
Her songs for hers, ours, and others' pets' names.
Her excitement for movie score composers.
John Williams.
Or her carn horn toot twice, beep beep, as she pulled away until her next inevitable visit.
It's hard to know that we won't get to experience gaining new knowledge with and from her, or see this upcoming season's shows together, share another meal, or one more schnobbler, just gin and an olive.
But what we do know is this: Jackie's memory and legacy lives on through every single one of us.
Her kindness, care, and compassion are part of what bring us, each of us, here today, celebrating her. Her friendship and love towards each of us was true.
Her passion came from a desire for us, all of us, to have the best chance and success. Her deep perspective, friendship, love, and encouragement will be wholeheartedly missed.
At the time of her retirement, a group of us began a fundraiser with Truman State to remodel and rename the Baldwin Hall box office in Jackie's honor, a space where she spent so much of her career teaching, directing, and inspiring.
With her passing, the project has taken on a much deeper personal meaning, and we now work to complete this task in her memory. This is a small way of ensuring that future students will continue to feel her presence in the very halls she filled with music, laughter, and love. After the memorial service, we invite you to visit the Baldwin Hall box office, see the space, and if you feel so moved, help us in bringing this vision to fruition.
Off script. Dawn will be out there manning the table out here right after the service, if you would like to speak with her about donations. And finally, a schnabler. As defined by Jackie and the Collett family,
as we were told,
is when you've had enough, but just a little bit more wouldn't be awful. So you have just another smaller martini.
So in closing, we'll offer everyone a schnabler in the form of one last Jackie story.
At her retirement celebration, as a few of us may recall, she boldly declared,
at 9:30 p.m.,
as Franklin Street performance numbers were being cycled through,
"Dry bones, Becca, dry bones."
We did watch that at least 3 different times and at different versions of each time.
Anyway, back on track.
Well, with her just knowing how she would respond, she informed us that she would be done for and she would have to head to bed if and when we found and watched the whole group performance of For Good.
Well, of course, this put most of the party attendees on the hunt to share that moment again with her. Those of us who were blessed to be part of the performance so many years ago knew just how much this song meant to her.
And that meaning only grew because you know who sat beside her while she wept on his shoulder every single time we saw it live. I'll honestly miss that.
Well, about half an hour later, around 10 p.m., it was found and enthusiastically demanded to be watched. She wept.
Sobbed, actually, which Christine can attest to.
But they were tears of joy and recognition from years of hard work.
Connections, relationships, love, laughter, sorrow, and sadness, all paying off for good.
Absolutely. It really felt as though it was her moment of realization in understanding her legacy.
Her impact of her life and career experiences finally came full circle to her.
And let's not forget that she then proceeded to party with everyone well into the early morning hours.
She did. Listen, she hadn't watched those performances in years.
And although we're a little biased, there was nothing like watching her listen to and reliving those years with some of her damn kids.
And hearing the choral sounds that she created out of a group of 20-somethings while they were hopping around, spinning, twirling, kicking, and posing was honestly nothing short of impressive.
It was clear that the music she poured into others had come full circle, now giving back to her in ways she never expected.
But even at brunch the next day, she was still overjoyed and astounded that people would take time just to celebrate her. Over the years, she would sometimes wonder out loud to us if she had made enough of an impact.
Well, everyone that weekend saw Jackie's realization of just how great a reach she had, which is a memory many of us will thoroughly cherish. Now, having shared this specific story, selecting the final moment for her memorial shouldn't come as a shock or a surprise.
But let's be honest, the woman loved a good closer number, especially ones that shared positive, uplifting, reflective of life messages.
From old standards to pop favorites,
gospel toe tappers, or inspirational ballads, there were a lot to choose from.
Each closing number ended her shows with similar messages.
Ones which encourage us all to be better, to do good things, and to love each other fiercely.
Personally, knowing how much this performance meant to her, we cannot think of a song which better expresses and encompasses how she truly felt about others and how she hoped others felt towards her in return, like for good.
There really was no other choice. Like a handprint on our hearts.
Because we knew her.
And because we were loved by her.
We have been changed for the better.
Changed for good.